an A-games formula.
3, 2, 1.
Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hello. How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for kicking it off, UFO. Thank you so much that Kendra delivers. I try. Thank you, Nora, and thank you, Latif. Hey, Torian. Hey, Dr. Sherry. Hey, everybody. Hey, Philip. Hey, Kendrail. Okay, so today I'm not gonna review anybody's video or anything like that. I'm not gonna review anybody's video. I just want to talk about the Black family. I know that we are looking around and we can't seem to get together. Black men and Black women, I mean. Black men and Black women can't seem to get themselves together. And they can't seem to get themselves together individually. And they can't seem to get themselves together to come together to be attracted to one another. And I don't just mean physical attraction. I mean unification in terms of a family, being a family. That's why I said Black family, because seems like we are we just can't get right. You can even look at the dating market and see the problems. Nobody wants to do what the other one needs. Nobody sees any value in the other one. Black men don't see no value in Black women. And Black women don't see no value in Black men at all. None. And I need people to understand that this is quite by design, that we don't see any value in one another. And this has been working itself and working itself and working itself for many a generation, really since plantation days, right? Because we can't not seem to want one another. Exactly, Prada. It has been an extinction level event. Our lack of being a family, our inability to come together, our inability to unify. We don't even talk about it anymore. We don't even really talk about Black people needing to be together. We don't even talk about Black people being on code or coming together to be able to get something done or any of that. We don't really talk about that anymore. Please like and share this is important because I'm starting to deal with the algorithm again. As you can see, I'm starting to come away from my title structure that I've had for the last few months. And it's going to take the algorithm a minute to get up to where, hey, Miss Amanda, it's always a pleasure to see you pop in, sweetheart. Always a pleasure to see you. I hope all is well with you, beloved. We have no ideology, like Latif Muhammad said in the chat, no unifying ideology. None at all. We do not talk about unification anymore. Everything is about what I want, what I want, what I want, what I'm not getting, what I want to get. All of that. Hey, Miss Shonda. So we're going to talk today about what has actually been going on, because it's not enough. It's not really enough to just say we aren't together, but somebody has to be able to examine why we're not together. It's not enough to say, well, black women are not submissive, or black women are masculine, or black men don't build, or black men don't have anything. It's not enough to say that stuff. That stuff doesn't mean anything anymore. And I want us to actually know that those things do not need, it doesn't mean anything anymore. Thank you, Norrin. And I really was going to title this, How the Lost Value System Broke the Black Family. It's probably still appropriate. So by us being in the lost value system since antebellum slavery, really. Exactly, Lena. Exactly. The rift was created on the plantation and perpetuated within the lost value system. Okay? The rift between black men and black women by making us devalue each other and ourselves in the eyes of one another. So black women do not see any value in black men at all, right? Let's talk about, it's not just about switching the roles, masculine, feminine, or even feminism, or even all of that stuff was put into place to undergird or to support the false biologies. Do you understand? To support the false biologies. Because we know that the system, the lost value system, is a lie. It's full of lies. The spiritual value of it means no truth. So how do you keep a system based on lies afloat? The first thing you have to do is you have to lie about the biology in various different forms, various different ways, right? Various different ways. And then culture supports those lies so that we can continue to perpetuate the false narrative that we have accepted, biologically speaking. And then once that's done, the environment follows suit. But I need people to be able to understand that we're not going to get out of anything unless we understand biology, culture, and environment. And unless and until we start understanding that, we're not going to understand anything else. Right? And we're going to talk about the evolution. Thank you, Pound for Pound, said Crimson. The convo from Nathan Daly, Rilla Sirhill was powerful last night. Was all over this subject. Really? Oh, okay, I might check that out. Thank you, Luke Casey. Says, sadly, there are many who gain from the destruction of the family unit. Unification is not profitable. It is not. It is not. We're going to explore a bit of the evolution of how this really happened. How we came to a point where we don't see no value in one another. Hey, Ja. All right, so like I said, it's not just about switching masculine and feminine roles. But by doing so, they knew through human psychology, they understood that we would devalue one another biologically. Men would not want women, they would not want, love, value, or need women who do away with their internal value as women, because that is no point. There's nothing for a man to gain from a woman who has done away with her internal values as a woman. Similarly, if a man is stripped of his ability, more or less in a general way I'm speaking, of his external values, which is how men demonstrate their internal values, then a woman has no need for such a man. Women have no need for men who don't have any mobility, don't have any education, don't have any profession, can't deal with leisure, can't deal with wealth. Women don't have any value to that. Because it's like, well, you're not supplying me with anything. Right? And that's the narrative that we hear from black women all the time. Black men don't build anything. Black men don't have anything. She talks about we being the most educated or the most enrolled in school or the one who can get the job. She's talking about her mobility. She has more mobility than black men. But we're going to take the women first. Because when we talk about black women not having their internal value, we got women out here just not even being good people, period. Let alone good people or good women in a relationship setting. They're not being good people, right? We got women out here being mean, cruel, spiteful, hateful, trifling, manipulative, conniving. And it's a regular thing. Black women are not only in general very masculine, they're very not well behaved. They're not well behaved women. And when I say well-behaved women, black women are not, unfortunately, we're not the women that come to mind when people think about classy women. Black women don't actually come to mind. When people think about submissive, good, wholesome women, black women aren't the picture that you conjure in your head. So let me at least get 250 likes. So black women are not the face of what good women, what you think of when you think of a good woman. Right? For women, the internal value holds her femininity. For women, the internal value holds her femininity. We're going to be referring back to this chart today. Because each of these parts of female nature have been corrupted such to make black women undesirable as mates. Okay? See, femininity is not just certain chores, cooking and cleaning and all of that kind of stuff. But it is the internal quality of being women. So when we talk about insight, nesting, beauty, fertility, chaos, submission, selfish, hypergamy, power, and passing on of the culture, this is what has been turned on its head. And even when we take a look at this one, I know that you haven't seen this one in a while. If you take a look at this chart, you will see that there are certain things saying yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and they are circled. So when we talk about insight, the circling is no. The question that this is answering is whether or not these traits are supported under the lost value system. Insight is not supported under the lost value system. Nesting is not supported under the lost value system. Beauty is only supported toxically. So BBLs, all of these types of things, getting these surgeries, almost killing yourselves, trying to look a certain way, look like an Instagram model when you know that's not what you look like. Fertility is not supported under the lost value system. This is why they put Planned Parenthoods everywhere in our neighborhoods. Chaos is supported under the lost value system. So yes, and it's toxic. It's not even the normal chaos that a woman would have. It's the toxic version. Submission, definitely not. Under the lost value system, no submission, not to your man. Selfishness is, thank you once again, Norrin, definitely encouraged to be toxically selfish. Toxic hypergamy, yes. Not choosing men based on anything proper. Feminine power is not supported under the lost value system. I'm taking you through this chart if you can see it. And lastly, culture is but toxic. Now let me come back to you real quick, because I need y'all to understand what I was just saying. Can I get 300 likes, please? Come on, bam, 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 bam. You gotta hit the like button, bam, bam. You gotta, please. When a woman has every single part of her female nature to be subverted or to be discouraged from her to use it or any of that, she becomes not desirable as a mate. And when I say not desirable, I am not talking about her physical self. I'm not talking about whether or not men think she's sexy. I am not talking about that. I am talking about those traits. When men look at a group of women with those traits overwhelmingly, they are not inspired to choose these women as lifelong partners, the mothers of their children, or any of that. In short, they do not wish to build a family with that woman because biologically she's not fit. Because a woman that doesn't have those qualities, those female nature, her natural qualities intact, is not a good mate. She's not a good choice. We are making these decisions based on our bioevolution. So women that had these characteristics intact typically made stable partners and good mothers. When you are in the lost value system, you lose that. As women, we lose that. We have, as a general body of women, we have lost touch with all of them things. We make a problem with all of them things. We don't use any insight, because insight would actually lead us to make better decisions, because we would be looking back and we would be using hindsight to look back and to see whatever mistakes we might have made to make some corrections going forward in the future. We would do that, but we don't do that. Okay? When we take a look at nesting, we don't really make nests anymore. There's a whole debate. It was the question that I answered when I was on the Revolt show about whether or not women even wanted to have families or not. So no nesting. Because nesting implies that there is a man and that there are children and that we have created a stable household for us to be in. And nowadays, women, the large majority of black women, are either questioning whether or not they want to, or saying flat out they don't want to. They don't want to do that. So if we have a group of women who are priding themselves on not creating or not helping to create a stable family structure, how do we have a family structure? This is why I'm saying the black family is doomed. Because if nobody wants to do it, then we're not going to do it. Right? We don't survive. We don't live as women in a truth. Right? So how did they get us to this point? Because in the period of Reconstruction, black families were together. We were getting married. We were having children. We were stable as family units. Mainly because we needed each other. Black women needed black men. We needed them. And we didn't see nothing wrong with needing them. But how did they get black women to come away from that? The thing that they gave us to placate us into doing away with our internal values and make us able to deny our natural positions next to black men was to grant us more mobility while hindering his mobility as much as possible. Giving us more mobility and then hindering his mobility as much as possible. Giving us more mobility makes us comfortable with leaving out from under his cover because it satisfies a woman's need for security. Right? It satisfies a woman's need for security. What am I talking about? By offering, thank you once again, Norrin, by offering the alternative of more work, better education, welfare, etc., and any other form of mobility that they could offer us, this made us comfortable with moving out of the cover of black men. Now the question would come along as to this. If black men were supplying those things, why would that be appealing or enticing for black women? If they were getting them things from black men to begin with, why would the society offering black women that be enticing to them? They're already getting it. There's only one real reason for it. Only one real reason for it. Right? Put a 1 in the chat. You want to know why. Why it would be enticing. Because the men, our men were supplying. They were going out, finding work, and supplying for their families. They were doing that. They had families they were supplying for. This was appealing because it was supposedly this. What am I talking about? The offering of black women more mobility than her man. Money, form of welfare, offering for more opportunities for work, whatever the case may have been, was more appealing. It was appealing to black women because it was supposedly without any strings attached. And when I say strings, I mean that there was no requirement of restricting her chaos. She was basically given the illusion of the removal of order away from her so that she can do as she pleases and still have security to survive. And on that note, I'm going to give us a quick commercial break and then I will be right back.
We're A-Game, a 100% Black-owned company with an all-natural product and world-class customer service. We're headquartered in California, and we manufacture, package, and ship right here in the United States. We ship to more than 125 distributors worldwide. Normal processing is 2 to 3 days, and we employ virtual tracking until our product is received. So, no matter where you are in the world, here we come, and we're bringing your A-game.
Okay? So it gave her the illusion of the removal of order from her. You can still live how you've been living, or maybe a little better, but you don't have to be subjected to any rules. The reason why it's an illusion is because there's always rules. There's always rules. There's always strings attached. Nothing is free. Nothing is coming to you out of the goodness of anybody's heart. Okay? Especially in this situation. Especially in this situation. And then she was taught through various cultural things, feminism, all of this, all of that. She was taught that any imposition of order on her is to be seen as an obstruction of her from being her true self. So any imposition of order, specifically from black men, can I get 350 likes? We're not going to impose anything. You can just come get this job. Because we just want to see black people do better. Meanwhile, black men are being lynched. They are being falsely incarcerated, sent back to chain gangs, sent back. The 13th Amendment is in full effect for black men to hinder their mobility. Because when you take a look at the 13th Amendment, slavery is abolished except for whom? Except for whom? Slavery is abolished except for one group of people in this country. And who are those people? Prisoners. If you get convicted of a crime and sent to prison, you are no longer a free citizen of these here United States of America. You are effectively a slave of the state. You no longer have the rights of a citizen. You cannot come out and vote. You will not truly be able to come out and get a job. You will have trouble getting yourself together. That is the hindering of mobility, because I don't care if you was falsely accused. If you got accused and you got convicted on false charges, even if you had gotten exonerated, they're gonna look at it. And you will be treated with bias and extreme prejudice. We don't want you working at our facility because you were even tied to the assumption of a crime. You were at some point convicted. Even if you were cleared, nope. So you can't, as a man, particularly as a black man, it has affected black men more than any other demographic of man, because black men were never not meant to be slaves here in this country. They was always meant to be. There wasn't no expiration date on no slavery when they got them ships over here. When they got black men over here, then nobody said, well, we just gonna keep them for 100 years and then, we gonna let them go. It ain't no hard feelings. No. There was no expiration date at all. So environmentally, they have played that out. Now, getting back to the women, give her more mobility while taking it from you to give her the sense of being abandoned. Thank you once again, Norrin. To give her a sense of abandonment. Restrict his mobility. Come get him out of the house. They was that bold. Back in the day, they just come get you out the house. They still do it. Both of them, Gene, anybody? Just came in that man's house, shot him in cold blood. He was sitting in his house minding his business. That woman just came in there and blew his brains out. Like, what is you really doing? What is you really talking about? So decreased her cultural value, which for women includes her femininity. To bring her away from or make her strive against her nature. And if she strives against her nature, she will strive against her man. If you take his mobility and you give her mobility, that gives her a sense of abandonment. There are a lot of black women who see the era when welfare really came to prominence for black women. They don't see that with reality. They see that as, well, black men left the home. Just like that video I showed y'all of that older lady who offered the apology to black men, and how she was saying this is a woman that was highly educated, that really thought that black men had left, and that's why black women were even in a position to have to accept welfare like that anyway, because the black men were already gone. Not that she had kicked him out in order to receive it. So if the black woman collectively has a sense of abandonment from black men, that destroys her what? What does that destroy in her towards him? It destroys her trust. It destroys her trust. She don't trust. Black women to this day do not trust black men. They don't trust them at all. This is why they're not going to get submission out of them. Nothing. Because all of that takes trust. So when you put black women in this position and she accepts that, you've got a problem. Now, what did they do to men in the lost value system? How did they make black men worthless to us? Financially, externally obsolete to us. Because men have been withheld from their value, which presents itself externally. So men's value typically presents itself as the external 5. Now, when I say this, I'm not saying he doesn't have internal. I'm saying his masculinity expresses itself outwardly in the external 5, which is mobility, education, profession, leisure, and wealth. Okay? Because you got to understand, they've been working against our unity from the beginning. And I told y'all that. We ended up hopping brooms and stuff like that or whatever on the plantation because they didn't allow us to get married. We weren't allowed to unify on the basic biological level. We weren't able to do that. Black men's internal values have more or less remained somewhat intact, right? He tries to do something about his spiritual self. He tried to do something with his health. He tried to do something with his family. Tried to, keep his appearance together. Tries to keep his dwelling together, right? But it's difficult. And I'm speaking in a very general way. But his external values suffer a lot because black men are also in the lost value system. See, I talk about black women all the time, but we've all been beguiled under this system. I want everybody to understand that. We understand that we've all been beguiled under this system. Nobody has truly escaped it. Not as a group, we didn't. Individually, we may have, but not as a whole. So black women are caught up in the lost value system. Black men are caught up in it too. He just caught in a different way. He's caught in a different way. Because see, what the lost value system does to black men is I want y'all to take a real good look at the 10 life values. Now, these are all 10 that go together. They go together. Spiritual all the way down to wealth go together. They work together. They are not meant to be split. They are not meant to be split at all. Thank you once again, Noreen. Thank you so much, sweetheart. They are not meant to be split up. However, under the lost value system, black men are made to have to think he has to choose between whether or not he's going to have good internal values and be a good person, or is he going to pursue prosperity and wealth and sacrifice his internal values. Do you understand where I'm going with this? They place the internal and the external as at loggerheads when really it's together. So in the mind of black men under the lost value system, they are made to think that one cannot exist alongside the other. If you are rich, as black men, this is what black men are taught, because we hear it, women hear what you talk. That if you are a good man internally, then you do not have, nor are you concerned with wealth and mobility and the external values. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. One moment. My apologies. But I was talking about how black men are taught that they have to choose between his internal values and his external values. If you see a rich black man, we are suspicious of who he is inside. Am I lying? Is this facts or am I capping? Let me know if I'm capping. If it's cap, let me know. Let me know. This is where the concept of the poor righteous teacher even come from, because men who have upstanding moral values are not typically looked upon to be rich, because we associate richness with a person who does not have good internal value. They've done something that doesn't necessarily make them a good person to get that money, especially if they got a lot of it, especially if they're really wealthy. Now, I'm not talking about he make more than the average. I'm talking about he's wealthy. This is what's being taught. That the internal and external values knock heads. They don't work together. He's morally corrupt. Thank you, MM. Thanks again for all you do. Thank you so much for all of y'all support. Black men are taught that. Black men have to discover individually that that's not true. That he can be a person of upstanding moral character and integrity and spiritual value, and that because the spirit under the lost value system, you got to understand, the spirit and the wealth are not connected. Under the lost value system, spirituality and wealth are as far apart as they possibly can be. And they never touch. When you are a man, specifically a black man, under the lost value system, these two values do not touch. They are unrelated. You have to choose which one you're going to go after. Are you going to be a man with solid spiritual, health, family, appearance, and dwelling value? Or are you going to be a man with solid mobility, education, profession, leisure, and wealth value? You can't be both. But under the 10 life values, If you notice, it's a circle, and number 1 and number 10 touch. They touch because they are related. They are related because you really don't get one without the other. You understand? Do you understand what I'm talking about? See, when you are, this is how they made our men obsolete away from us. This is how they made our men not valuable in our eyes. Thank you, Chicago man. Oh, the spiritual and the wealth touch, and they go together, and they supply one another. Because you without spirituality intact, you don't get fulfillment out of the other 9. And there are many times when your wealth actually helps you spiritually because you are able to give, you are able to help, you are able to assist others. I can feed the hungry, I can clothe the poor, I can pay my zakat, I can give charity, I can offer jobs, I can create businesses where people can feed themselves and their families. So my wealth can help my spirit. Because my wealth can certainly damage my spirit if I am miserly. If I am greedy. Thank you, Stack. If I am selfish. If I step over people to get what I have, to get what I want. Thank you so much once again, Norin. Do you all understand? See, I need y'all to actually understand. I've been talking about the 10 life values for almost 2 years. I need people to understand that. I need people to understand that chart. Wealth and spirituality go together. Do not believe the lie. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. They telling you that they don't go together, but that's the lost value system. This is what I'm talking about. Thank you, S. Freechy. Said being freeloading too. Been freeloading too. Thank you for your counsel. Thank you. That's the hype. That these things don't touch. That your spirituality is in some other realm other than your wealth. And it is not the case. It is not the case. That is the lie that they tell black men to keep him from mobility. To keep him away from wealth, to keep him away from all of the things that will lead him to wealth. The 10 life values is a path that you walk. All things integrate. Okay? Black men are told by and large that if he is to be a good man, that he cannot be a wealthy man. And if so, he must compromise his spiritual values, his family, his health, his appearance, his dwelling in order to obtain money, not even wealth, money. And it is a false narrative that creates a false dichotomy. What's the dichotomy? That the internal values and the external values clash rather than go together. They destroy a black man's mobility with incarceration. He's difficult to get hired. He's the first one to get fired when they let stuff go. Okay? He's the first one to be denied basic components of mobility that makes black men take the long road around, the long way around. He got to take the long way around to get anything, to meet any of his goals. When we think of mobility, I need you all to think that mobility is the physical manifestation of the 10 life values. So spirituality, when we talk about it from an internal place, is spirituality. When we talk about it from a mobility or external place, it would be represented by places of worship. Health is your body and everything, and whether or not you're sick or well, your immune system, all of these, your diet, your all of that. The physical representation of health for mobility purposes would be clinics, hospitals, pharmacies, things of that nature. Family is your family. It is represented by the home. Where are black men not at? He's not in the places of worship like he used to be. He's not in the church house like he used to be. Some of them not in the masjid like they used to be. He is not very well represented in the medical field. We talked about the Flexner report and how black medical schools were all shut down, all but a handful, maybe 2. Thank you, Johnny Blaze. So when you go to the doctor, when you go to hospitals, black men are not well represented in terms of being the doctor, being the nurse, being, okay, he may be there well represented being sick, but he's not well represented being the doctor. You're going to find a Caucasian, you're going to find Indian, Pakistan, you're going to find Asians. That's who you're going to find. He's not with his family. He is not the head of the black community. He is not represented in the community as the head. So he's not running town hall meetings. He's not represented well in the neighborhood from a mobility standpoint. From the family, from a mobility standpoint. He's not. Thank you, Enlightened Mindset. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. May Allah grant you good in both worlds. Ameen. Keep bringing the light that removes darkness. Ameen. Right? He's not represented well. His appearance, his public appearance, generally speaking, is not even under his control. So he doesn't really run the networks and things of that nature. And when black male characters are written, they are either written by men, other black men who are in the lost value system, or black women. Black men are among the group demographic of men who have a tendency to be the most homeless. So his dwelling, it's not good. It's not a good place for him. Black men are homeless. You know, of course, I'm not saying all, right? But of the demographic of men, black men have a high percentage within that demographic of being homeless. He's got a problem with his mobility. We talked about the incarceration piece and that literally stopping him from moving in this society like other men. He got to work a whole lot harder to get where he's trying to go or where he needs to go. Black women have been given more opportunities for education because who controls the institution? I'm almost at the end. We're going to wrap it up. But who controls the institution? Education is part of the institution. The courthouses and the legal system. Institution, environment, that's the legal. Who's in charge of that? Who sets the policies and then enforces them in whatever way benefits them? So women, to wrap this up, will not value men whose external values suffer too much. The narrative, now, the narrative given, this is culture now. The narrative culturally is that this is due to black men's inherent stupidity. He's inherently stupid. He's just an idiot. His lack of intelligence, his lack of drive, his lack of ambition, and just plain out know-how. He just a goofball. They just ain't worth nothing. Po things. Po little tink tink. He ain't worth a plug nickel. As my father used to say, he ain't worth a plug nickel. Thank you so much, Chiseled. He ain't worth a plug nickel, y'all. Worse than a penny with a hole in it. Black men, there you go. That is the cultural narrative. The other cultural narrative is that he's physically dangerous to us. So biologically, he's a detriment to black women. Do you understand? He's a detriment to black women, even on a physical one-to-one level. That's the narrative. He's prone to excessive violence. He's prone to all of that stuff. Yeah, the birth of a nation narrative. That's what we're working with. So black men, the conclusion is that black men and black women should not be together from a biological perspective. And it's working the other way now because black men are starting to understand that they are actually more victims in domestic abuses. They're the victims. They're the ones getting the police called on them and stuff like that. They are more prone to be physically attacked. So the women are proving themselves to be what? Physically dangerous, not biologically suitable. So why would these two groups of people want to be together and make a family? Why would a woman who is unsuitable, who does not even understand womanhood, why would a man choose her to be a wife? He wouldn't. Which is why the marriage rate went the way it went. He wouldn't do it. Men are by and large not doing this. Because it's what? How? Why? Why would he do it? Why would he do it? She's useless. She's useless. Women who have lost or corrupted their intrinsic internal value over time is useless because she becomes obtuse and masculine. And therefore no use to a man. Men are obstructed from increasing his external values under the lost value system. So he's obsolete. Thank you so much. Once again, Norin. Thank you. this lesson today. Because I want people to understand why we can't make a family. Why, if as long as we're under the lost value system, there will be no black family. There won't be one. It's just not going to do it. It's never going to happen. Ever. Ever. If we don't understand how these things actually work, not how they tell us it works, not how we think it works, not how we want to say it works, but how it works in reality. If we don't understand it, we are doomed. It is extinction. It's extinction. Thank you so much, Benjamin. So thank you for the daily wisdom. Thank you. If we don't understand it, we're not going to get out. We doomed. It's over with. It's done. It's a done deal. Over. Finito. See, I don't really talk to the men, but I understand that our men are also in the lost value system. And if you don't believe me, just take a look around. They make us obsolete to one another. No use. No reason to be with one another. When we look at one another, we get disgusted. Black women are disgusted with black men. Black men are becoming disgusted with black women. Hope you got it. Here's hoping you got it. We look upon each other with disdain. We can't stand one another. We really can't. And do you think that that's a natural thing, or do you think that that's engineered? I'm trying to give you how it got engineered. I'm not even here just telling you it was engineered. I'm telling you how. I'm giving you the vehicle they used to do it with. They used this, biology, culture, and environment, and your lack of understanding of it against you, and then they put you in a trick bag with the lost value system. And we don't know we're in that trick bag. And we keep running around in the same trick bag, trying to figure out why we're not out. And this is the way out right here. But even before you get to the 10 life values, you're going to have to understand biology, culture, and environment, or the 10 life values does nothing. Because you don't know how these three things work. I'm trying to tell you why it's like that. And we can look at all the reports, Flexton reports about how they lied about biology. We can look at the Moynihan report. We can talk about Moynihan scissors. We can talk about all that stuff. And all of that stuff is wonderful. All of that stuff is a piece of the puzzle. I am not dismissing any of that knowledge. All I'm doing is tying it together. And if y'all want to if y'all don't want the family to be doomed, you're going to have to get on your A game. That's my tie together. Right? So how do you get on your A game? Once again, thank you, Doran. I know so many brothers have gotten on their A game in the recent weeks. And I just, listen, I know y'all need this. I know y'all need this. To get on your A game, to stay on your A game, this is a male herbal solution with 21 wonderful herbs and no artificial ingredients. So my Muslims in here, if you were wondering, I wonder if it's got some animal, not at all. No animal byproducts either, okay? And this addresses a man's vitality, his energy, his strength, and his libido. So if you want to be part of the A-Game family, it's super simple. All you got to do is click the link at the top of the chat at agameherbal.com and get a 10% discount using the code Kendra10. And you can have this box of awesomeness delivered to you ASAP. Right? Thank you, Kendra. All right. And I want to thank everyone for their likes, for their time, for their contribution. Nina, thank you. Say a lot is not going to change the condition of people until they change the condition within themselves. I mean, sister, verily Allah does not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. Thank you, Hakeem. And changing the condition is the culture and an environment. Changing the self, biological. Warm thank you to my team, without which I could not do any of this. So thank you all so much. And I am going to wrap this up, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.